Titanic director James Cameron said the sinking of the Titanic was similar to the Titanic disaster when both were warned of the danger in advance. Many people consider the experience he had to be very interesting. The media also often questioned his rare experience. But James Cameron soon warned about the dangers of the experience of visiting the wreck of the Titanic when he saw that the interest and excitement for this experience was quite large. In an interview with the New York Times in 2012, James Cameron said, "You have to understand that the area of the ocean floor where the wreck of the Titanic is located is one of the most dangerous destinations, deadly, every detail. What happens will not be natural at all. Do not imagine in the direction that there is something urgent. You can call the rescue force to withdraw." This James Cameron interview was recalled as the search and rescue operation for the missing commercial submarine was still ongoing. The Titanic submarine went missing while on an expedition to the bottom of the North Atlantic Ocean for tourists to see firsthand the wreck of the Titanic. There are 5 people on board, including 1 driver and 4 tourists. Besides warning about the dangers of the experience of visiting the Titanic, director James Cameron also admitted that seeing sights that most ordinary people never get the chance to see is quite an experience. Leave a strong impression. Seeing the Titanic with his own eyes made director James Cameron feel more overwhelmed than any lavish red carpet event or flashy setting he had ever seen in his life. Director James Cameron once wrote a book sharing about the experience of going to the bottom of the ocean to visit the Titanic. Over the course of 5 months, Cameron went to the bottom of the ocean 3 times to observe the Titanic. As the director once said, he thinks there is no greater joy than being an adventurer and seeing landscapes that most ordinary people won't get the chance to see. During his visits to the bottom of the ocean to visit the wreck of the Titanic, director Cameron traveled by submarine. He shared that he could pilot his own submarine to the bottom of the ocean. He knows quite a few people who are passionate about exploring the ocean like him. Around the recent disappearance of a commercial submarine, director Cameron did not comment. Meanwhile, Mr. Park Stevenson, who acted as the technical director of the 1997 film Titanic, frankly shared that he was afraid of a possible tragedy with the missing submersible. Mr. Park Stevenson has a lot of experience in ocean exploration by submarine. He has practical experience and in-depth knowledge of submarine operations. Before the recent disappearance of the commercial submarine Titanic, Mr. Stevenson assessed, the information was flooded in the newspapers surrounding this incident. With every passing hour, there is more news. But all we really know up to this point is that we're losing contact with the Titan submersible. It is unusual and a warning for the parties involved to consider the seriousness of the incident. He was very worried about the people on board. Previously, Mr. Stevenson visited the wreck of the Titanic with director James Cameron. Director Cameron has a great passion for the ocean. He once shared that the biggest motivation for him to make the movie Titanic was because he wanted to scuba dive and see the wreck of the Titanic with his own eyes. In 2003, director Cameron released a documentary film called God of AB, roughly translated as Souls in the Abyss. The film's content revolves around the wreck of the Titanic. Director Cameron admits that his passion for scuba diving is quite expensive. So Cameron made the movie Titanic so that the studio would agree to pay him to explore the bottom of the ocean, so that he could observe the wreck of the Titanic with his own eyes and have materials for filmmaking. Director Cameron once shared honestly, if he had enough money to pay for his expensive diving trips, he would not have to go to film anymore. Many people think that he is a rich man in Hollywood, but actually he only makes movies to have money for scuba diving and to satisfy his hobby of exploring the ocean. In the field of scuba diving, director Sam Cameron is considered a seasoned character. He once went down to the deepest point of the ocean world, which is the Challenger Abyss located in the Pacific Ocean, where it has a depth of 10,898 m to 10,916 m. Ladies and gentlemen, at the moment, the authorities have not yet determined the exact location of the missing Titanic submersible. While the wreck of the Titanic lies at a depth of about 3,700 m, corresponding to the depth of the Titanic. Indian Ocean. The last position, the missing submarine signaled, was said to be directly above the ship. Experts believe that it is possible that the submersible carrying 5 people got stuck in the wreck of the Titanic or suffered a technical problem. And so far, the identities of the 5 missing people on the ship have also been announced. Among them is Stockton Rath, who holds the position of CEO of OceanGate, the company that provides services to explore the wreck of the Titanic. The New York Times has added shocking information to those watching the incident that Stockton Rath's wife, Wendy Rath, is actually a descendant of 2 passengers who died in the Titanic tragedy in 1912. 5 people were on a voyage to discover the wreck of the Titanic that went missing on June 18th, including the CEO of OceanGate Expeditions, Mr. Stockton Rath. Over the past 2 decades, Stockton has been involved in a number of ocean-related technology projects. After many expeditions were turned back because they couldn't get the right permission, OceanGate Expeditions began selling tickets worth $250,000 for an 8-day Titanic discovery trip. Another worthy news is that Wendy Rath, Stockton's wife, is said to be a descendant of the couple who died in the Titanic tragedy. The 58-year-old British billionaire Hamid Harding has been confirmed by his wife's own son as one of the passengers of the lost Titanic. Hamid Harding is a British aviation magnate who holds 3 Guinness World Records for extreme adventures. Billionaire Harding also posted on social networks that he will join the OceanGate trip as the person carrying out the mission to explore the Titanic. He wrote that due to bad weather in Newfoundland, Canada, this expedition is likely to carry out a mission to bring the first and only people to the Titanic in 2023. Also, one of the sailors on the voyage this journey is Mr. Paul Henry Najoxnet. Do you know the name Mr. Titanic? At the age of 77, he has dived all over the world and spent 25 years in the French Navy. He was considered an expert on the Titanic. In press talks, he's been quite open about the risks in some of the most inaccessible waters in the world's oceans. The other 2 people on the train were the famous businessman of the Engro Group and his son Suleiman, 19 years old. In recent years, Engro has made numerous investments in the energy, agricultural, petrochemical, and telecommunications sectors. Sajada's father, Hussein Dawood, is regularly included in the list of the richest people in Pakistan by the local press.